Hi, SEPAC Summerschool. Thanks so much for including me in your program and inviting me to speak tonight. I am Cambria Russell, and I'm the director of the Massachusetts Statewide Family Engagement Center, which is one of the programs of the Federation. And today I will be chatting with you all about SEPACs and family engagement. So I will share my screen. Okay. So family engagement and SEPACs, these two topics are very closely related, and I hope throughout my presentation you'll see why they're so closely related. I want, as I'm speaking this evening, for you to consider the relationships between the work you already do in your SEPACs and family engagement. So we will be doing the following things. First, talking about what is family engagement, then discussing the benefits of family engagement. I will review quickly family engagement in Massachusetts. I know that you had some homework to look through the framework, so I won't spend much time on that. Then we'll talk about how we can help families engage. And finally, I would like you all to think about family engagement and SEPACs. So let's start off with what is family engagement. So I want you all to think, when you hear the term family engagement, what words pop in your head? If you could join this bit.ly, it's bit.ly/CPAC August 11th, and write in the words that you think of when you hear family engagement. And here are some answers that you all inputted. We have together, trust building, and collaboration. Those are larger. That means more than one person entered those ideas. I like that communication is there, genuine relationship. I think it's kind of funny that meetings are there. That is sometimes part of family engagement and maybe not my favorite. So this all looks like you guys have thought a little bit about family engagement. You have some ideas. Now let's look at the formal definitions. The first one will be from the US government, and the next one is from an academic center. So this one comes from the US Department of Education, and it states, family engagement refers to the systematic inclusion of families in activities and programs that promote children's development, learning, and wellness, including in the planning, development, and evaluation of such activities, programs, and systems. And I have bolded a few of these words for us to think about for a moment. So family engagement should be systematic. That means that it is not something we do on the spur of the moment. It's not something that should be done in isolation in one teacher's classroom and not another. It's something that should be planned for, and your district and your school should have a plan for including families in activities and programs. The next part I want to highlight is that families are not just to be invited into a program to participate in it, but also invited to be part of the planning, development, and evaluation of activities and programs. I think it's much more common for us to be included in an activity that we show up for, but not as much in the planning and evaluation. And if your school district is doing something like this, where families are included in planning or evaluation of activities, please let me know. I'm always looking for good examples of family engagement. So our next definition comes out of the Metropolitan Center for Research on Equity and the Transformation of Schools. That is a center at NYU. And it states, culturally responsive, sustaining family engagement is the practice of authentic, equal partnership with families, rooted in a deep knowledge and appreciation for the rich social and cultural identities, assets, habits, and contexts that families bring to learning. I just want to highlight that this is authentic and equal partnership. That means the power dynamic that normally occurs where the school is in charge or the school is the one providing information, that power dynamic can be equalized and parents can be seen as partners who have knowledge and assets to contribute that are on par with what the school is able to contribute. All right, so now that we've talked about what family engagement is, let's think about why it's important. Why do we care about family engagement? And so I want you all to go back to that same bit.ly and answer the question there, which is, what benefits have you received from being engaged in your child's learning and education? So I see some of the answers are that you feel part of a community, that your child receives better services, that you're better informed about what's happening in your child's school. And someone even said that it's fun. I like that answer. So there is a lot of research about the benefits of family engagement, and you all touched on some of them, that your child might be getting better services because you're engaged. That is borne out in the research. So from findings of over 45 years of research, we know that when families are involved, children do better in school, and schools do better educating children. So your individual child, according to research, should do better if you are engaged, but also if you're engaged, the school as a whole will do better. So engaged families support children's learning no matter what their family income or background. Children with involved parents are more likely to attend school regularly, have better social skills, earn higher grades and test scores, pass their classes, and graduate and go on to post-secondary education and careers. Now, when we say family engagement, and we're looking at this research, this doesn't just mean the mom who is in the school every day cutting out shapes for the kindergarten teacher. This is also the parent who doesn't have time to go into the school, but make sure that their child understands the importance of schooling and sends their child to school ready to learn. So there are different types of engagement, and we want to honor all of them. So that was for your individual child, the benefits that you might see. But if we look at high-performing schools overall, we know from research that there are 5 things that are like essential elements, I guess, to contribute to a school being high-performing. And these are things like school leadership, collaboration amongst teachers, a supportive environment. And the last one on this list, number 5, says strong family and community ties. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. So family engagement is a core component of creating a school that's high performing. And across all 5 of these areas, the underlying essential element is trust. Trust between administrators and teachers, between teachers and families, between the community and the families. So at all levels, there should be trust amongst the various players to encourage the highest level of performance. So we talked about what family engagement is and why we care about it. And I just want to briefly let you in on information about family engagement in Massachusetts. So we have a framework that I know you all have looked at for your homework, and you can find it on DESE's website and also the Massachusetts Statewide Family Engagement website. And the development of these frameworks were done over a period of years with input from a lot of different stakeholders. 11 state agencies were involved, so DESE, DMH, the Department of Public Health, lots of different state groups were involved. And these engagement frameworks are not exclusively for schools. They also are to be used when thinking about human services and the healthcare arena. So these are the framework guiding principles. They are kind of the backbone of the frameworks, and they include these core ideas that all the state agencies in Massachusetts, those 11 state agencies, have signed on for. So they're ideas like each family is unique, that families and practitioners should make joint decisions and share responsibility, that we should recognize strengths that come from diverse backgrounds, that relationships between practitioners and families should be reciprocal, that families are a child's first and best advocate, and also that family engagement must be equitable. So from these principles, developed framework elements, and these build upon each other. They're hierarchical, starting with building positive relationships. So we're thinking about relationships between teachers and families, administrators and families, between pediatricians and families, and then we work our way up once an established relationship is there to promotion of family well-being, then promoting pathways for partnerships with families, and then finally supporting child and youth development and learning. So that's just a little overview about what's happening in Massachusetts. Let's think now about how we can help families to engage. And there's really two issues here. The first is removing barriers to engagement, so those things that keep families from being engaged, and then providing motivation for engagement is the other side of the coin. So, some barriers to engagement. Some of them might be personal, like simply not knowing what you can do to be engaged, or feeling like an outsider. I know that there have been times in my children's schooling where I wasn't sure where I fit in with the parent group and was reluctant maybe to approach. There might be issues that are cultural, considering what might be seen as proper or appropriate interaction with the school in a particular community may not lead to what we traditionally think of as family engagement. And then there are also institutional barriers, the internal workings of organizations that favor the engagement of families that are already involved. And this is one I really want you to think about in terms of your SEPAC. Are you reaching those families that are not already involved and bringing them in? And how can you remove barriers to engagement for those families to include them in your activities and work as well? All right, so the flip side of barriers is motivation. So research tells us that family members are more likely to become involved when, first of all, they understand that they should be involved. There are certainly parents who feel like the school should take care of school issues and home takes care of home issues and don't realize the benefits of being involved. The family members are also more likely to become involved if they are invited to the school, invited by the school to participate, or invited by their children to participate. And finally, they need to feel capable of making a contribution. So these are all things that you can think about in your SEPAC about promoting ways for families to become engaged and promoting these motivational factors. So here are just a few ideas, and I'm going to ask you in a little bit to come up with your own ideas about how we can enhance family motivation. So thinking from a perspective of a SEPAC, let's consider communicating regularly with families and encouraging them to share information. Let's help the families understand the education system and the policies and procedures that are in place, helping them understand the curriculum, keeping families informed about upcoming activities that they could participate in, and then personally encouraging them to attend. So rather than just the mass email, possibly an individual email, a text message. I know that WhatsApp groups have been very successful in getting groups of families together, or even a phone call to say, hey, I haven't seen you at a SEPAC meeting lately and I'd love for you to be there. We want to support families in making connections with other families for parent-to-parent support, and this is something that SEPACs can do really well at. I know that my SEPAC is great about making connections between families. And we also want to reinforce what families are already doing to support their children. Let them know that what they are doing is great and the benefits that you're learning here tonight of their engagement. And here's some more ideas, again, about keeping parents informed and helping them understand learning standards or understanding the data that we get about school performance and how they can interpret that, and getting access to resources and services in the community. So I want you to think in your small groups about how SEPACs can support family engagement. I want you, first of all, to think about how you're going to remove barriers to family engagement. These might be barriers around language, around time, around knowledge about how to be engaged. Whatever is happening in your SEPAC, I want you to think about that and how you can remove barriers to families engaging. And then also how to create more opportunities for family engagement and the motivation factors that we discussed. And then finally, I want you to do all of this with the most marginalized families in mind, rather than thinking about that typical parent who probably doesn't actually exist. So we're going to put you into small groups and have you come back to discuss how you in your SEPAC are going to further encourage family engagement. And you'll be getting these slides later, but they're a series of resources that you can access. And then finally, there's one more question in that bit.ly link, and that's just my evaluation. And please reach out to me, especially if you have questions or you have examples of great family engagement happening in your school district. My email is right here. Thank you.